Hey everyone, this is a video I've been wanting to do for a little while. This is my top 10 red flags in New Age businesses. So I'm going to go through the top 10 just so you know what's going on in my business. I have right now on the Patreon in the Witch's Coven, we are working on romance and love with the goddess Juno. And then in the witch school, we were talking about ghosts and spirits and hauntings and all that fun kind of stuff. So if you're interested in that, you can go over there. I also have on my Etsy shop, I have a past life reading that's on sale if you're interested in any of that. So if you want to check out, otherwise, let's get going on what you came here for. Top 10 red flags. So this is, if you're looking for a reader, an astrologist, a Reiki person, you're looking to for a workshop, these are some things that I've come across in the witchy New Age community over the years. I'm sure other people have as well, that I really see as red flags that things are not on the up and up. Now, I want to say, first of all, that 95% of the people that I know working in this industry are lovely people who are doing amazing things. They're gifted. Their services are wonderful. And I think by far most people are doing their best and are out there giving and being of service. And I think that's wonderful. So I think for the most part, I think most people are great. And most of the time, you're not going to have to deal with these things. But I like doing this because I think you do come across these if you've been kind of in these circles long enough. And so when you see these things, it's kind of like a red flag, like, maybe something's not so good here. So let's get through them. So the first is, of course, somebody that tells you that you have a curse that's been placed on you and only they can take it off of you. Red flag. I think that's one we've all heard about. I've never actually had anyone say this to me. If they did, I would be like, you're full of crap. But it does happen. It does happen. Anyone that tells you you have a curse, your family's cursed, you have a negative entity around you and only I can take it away from you. And of course they want money to do that. They're full of poop. I'm sorry. That's just a money grab. That's somebody who's trying to feed into your fears. And I think that's one that most people have heard about and is pretty obvious. But there have been people who've been really, really frightened by that. There's people who've been really, really terrorized by those kind of things. It's really awful. And I think it is abusive. The second thing I would say to look for is I have actually heard two people say this, that they can read minds. Nobody can read your mind. I'm sorry, I don't care how psychic you are, you cannot read minds. You can definitely, there are some people who are amazing psychics who see all sorts of visions. They can definitely get all sorts of, energy and tell lots of things from a person. But anyone who is trying to tell you that they can read minds is either they're full of shit and they're trying to scare you. So I know there's somebody that they would tell people that they could read about their lover and that they could read their lover's mind. And that's just bullshit. I'm sorry, I keep saying that, but that's just BS. And then I witnessed another person in a workshop tell the people in the workshop that they could read their minds. And I think it was just a way to control people so that they'd be like, oh, I better not think bad things about her because she can read minds. That's just a way to control or try to impress people. And again, to me right away, it means that person is not telling the truth. They're either trying to frighten people or they're full of it. And so to me, that's another big red flag. Third one that I have here is I have special powers or special information that no one else has. And of course, they want to charge you lots of money for that. So I have witnessed, again, the same person who said they could, read the minds of the people in the workshop, say that they had special knowledge about the afterlife that nobody else had. Now, no, that's not true. Anyone that tells you they have special information or they're the only one with access to Archangel Michael or whatever it is again trying to just get money from you and trying to impress you, trying to make it seem that they're more special and more qualified than anyone else. I've also seen it where it's like, I have this special healing ability that no one else has. I've heard people say that. And again, nope, nope. There's lots of people who have healing abilities. There's lots of people who are connected to Archangel Michael. I'm just using an example. There's lots of people who have intuitive gifts. It's just like saying I'm the only artist in the world or I'm the only mathematician. That's silly. There's lots of people with those skills and lots of people with access to those talents. To try to make it sound like you have some special talent above everybody else is just, again, a way to get your money from you. The fourth one is I can fix everything in your life with X method or healing thing. I have this special healing thing that can fix everything in your life. Nobody has that. Nobody has the magic cure-all. That's just snake oil salesman. That's just people trying to get money from you again by trying to say, I can fix everything for you. Nobody can. There's lots of people out there, again, who have some really great healing abilities or have techniques to teach you, but nothing is going to fix everything in your life. That's just not how life works. And then, of course, there's sort of on the opposite end, somebody who keeps you coming back over and over again. Someone that is like, oh, you just need one more healing session. Oh, but you need one more past life regression, one more this, one more that. Of course, just like with anything, like for example, go to the physiotherapist, it's not going to get fixed in like one sitting, right? You might have to return a couple of times. That's normal. Same with things like Reiki or whatever, you might come back a couple of times. But if the person has you kind of keep going, and just like it never seems to end, and they just keep going one more, that's just somebody trying to keep you on the hook. That's not someone who's actually interested in you progressing. You know, even when you go to a counselor, for example, they'll say, okay, let's do 8 sessions or whatever. It's something like that. But anyone that keeps you coming back, they're kind of trying to get you hooked or addicted to them. So that's another big red flag to watch for. Another one is if they are like fake positive. Now, in the healing industry and in the New Age witchy healing, you do want people who are positive. You don't want negativity, which I'll get to next. But you do want someone who's overall positive. But if that positivity seems really fake, it seems, you know, you get that sense of like there's a rotten cake with really fancy icing on it. That's a big red flag as well. And this is often shows up as what's called spiritual bypassing. Spiritual bypassing is when we don't want to look at the hard stuff, or we don't want to look at things like fear or anger or the deeper psychological issues. We just say, oh, well, if you just do this positivity meditation, everything will be fine. You know, they just gloss over some of the more hard things in life, or they say things like, oh, well, people are poor just because they thought that way. You know, anything like that is fake and it's not very deep, and you're probably not going to get that much out of it anyway. It's going to feel, it's like eating a meringue. It's like tastes good, but it's just full of air and it's not going to do anything to sustain you. So again, you want people who are positive, but you don't want that fake or like that spiritual bypassing kind of positivity. The other one is their prices are extremely high. Now, people do need to charge a living wage, and in different areas, that's going to look different. You also have to take into account that some people have brick and mortar locations. They need to pay rent, they need to pay staff, all those kind of things. So I'm not talking about paying someone a fair and living wage. And, you know, I'm not talking about giving somebody money for their services. But if you notice that their rates are exponentially higher than people in your area, then there's probably an issue there. So for example, in my area, most readers charge, it can be anywhere from $60 to $100 an hour for a reading, give or take, depending on the methods they use. And there's some people a little higher, a little lower. And then, you know, if you see someone charging $400, yeah, that's probably a problem there. So watch for that. And again, that's one that's a bit tricky because it depends on area, it depends on like their costs, all sorts of things like that. But if it's like way ridiculously higher, it's probably there's probably something funny there. That's a bit of a red flag. The other red flag that's the opposite of the fake positivity is negativity. So someone that's super negative, that sucks the energy out of the room, that's super down, or they are trying to make everyone afraid, like, you have to do it exactly this way, or you have to do this thing, or it'll backfire on you, or demons will come in, that kind of thing. That person's playing off your fear. That's a big red flag. No, 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 no. You want people who are positive but real. That's what I look for anyway. Someone who's positive but they're real, they're grounded in reality. They don't spiritually bypass, but at the same time they don't make people afraid either. Another one, my number 9, that kind of goes with the negativity, is bad mouthing people in your community. So, of course, we want to call out things that are dangerous, right? And we want to identify behaviors that are dangerous. But if you're actually naming people and saying things like, oh, don't go to so and so because of this, and especially if it's not like a private conversation, it's they're saying it publicly, or they're saying it in a workshop, or they're actively discouraging people from the competition, or from other people in the community. That can be a sign there. They're obviously feeling insecure, and so they're bad-mouthing others in order to try to gain more business for themselves. Now, we all have bad days. We have days where we vent, right? But if that's like a consistent thing, then that's an issue. And finally, number 10, guru worship. Now, there are some people that, even though the teacher or reader or Reiki master has no intention of people thinking they know everything and worshiping them, there may be one or two people who just think this person is like God. So I'm not talking about that, because that's the person doing that, that's their issue. But if the person is encouraging that, if you notice that you go into the workshop or into the session and everybody's just treating this person like they're a god, and that person is encouraging that kind of behavior, that's a problem. That's someone who is feeding their ego and not feeding their spirit. And that's something that's another red flag to watch for in the community. So these are my top 10. You may have some others. Put below if you have any other warning signs that you look for. I don't expect people in this industry to be perfect, because we're human beings and nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I don't have all the answers. I don't know everything. Anybody that tells you they do, that's bad. That's like, serious runaway kind of energy. I look for people who are positive, who are doing their best to serve others, and who are realistic and grounded as well. And I think, but like I said, 95% of the people that are doing this kind of work are doing that. So I think, again, that, these are just, it's the 5% that are doing these things. That's kind of what you need to watch out for. So let me know what your red flags are, and I will see you all next time. And as always, peace and love and rock and roll.